Ok, amigos, bueno, aquí estamos en el nodo 1 y les quería enseñar cómo preparamos nuestra comida. Ahora voy a preparar un desayuno y vamos a empezar con el café, porque cada día yo usualmente empiezo con café y luego disfruto de un desayuno. Ok, bueno, cada miembro de la tripulación puede elegir diferentes tipos de café. Aquí tengo varios ejemplos, aunque hay muchos más. Tenemos un café un poco liviano, Kona, y cada café se puede elegir con crema y azúcar o café negro. Entonces este es Kona con crema. Aquí tenemos un café colombiano que es un poco más fuerte, un poco más oscuro, y este es con crema y azúcar. Aquí tenemos un latte de vainilla y tenemos también un cappuccino. Bueno, ahora vamos a preparar el cappuccino y vemos cómo nos sale. Ok, cada bebida que preparamos viene en este paquete y el paquete ayuda a proteger la comida o la bebida que está dentro. Entonces, claro, toda la comida o cada bebida que tenemos es deshidrada. Y eso es porque el agua, como les he dicho antes, el agua pesa demasiado para volar cada cosa ya con agua. Entonces, toda la comida que traemos al espacio es deshidrada y aquí la aumentamos con agua. Aquí tenemos nuestra máquina PWD, Potable Water Dispenser. Y claro, como les he dicho antes, usamos el agua aquí en la estación vez tras vez. Entonces, ayer o antier, este agua era orinas y ahora es agua pura. Tenemos un increíble proceso que puedes limpiar el agua completamente y aquí se puede usar de nuevo para la comida. Entonces, como pueden ver, cada bolsa tiene un pequeño pedazo de plástico que se puede poner acá. Entonces, después que la bolsa se pone ahí, tienes que subir esto para que salga agua. Puedes elegir cuánta agua vas a usar, de 25 a 250 mililitros. Como esta bolsa es de bebida, vamos a usar 250. Y luego puedes elegir agua fría o agua caliente. Usualmente para el café, claro, uso agua caliente. Entonces tenemos 250 mililitros y vamos a usar agua caliente. Y es buena idea apoyar la bolsa porque ya saliendo el agua sale con presión y puede empujar que salga la bolsa y caer agua caliente en tu cara. Entonces tiene que tener mucho cuidado y apoyar la bolsa. Okay. Entonces ya empujando ese botón empieza a salir el agua y a llenarse la bolsa. Ok, ya estando llena, uno puede escuchar que ha parado el agua y pueden ver que ya ahora la bolsa tiene 250 mililitros de agua. Ahora, se puede empezar a beber inmediatamente, pero usualmente es buena idea mezclarlo un poco y dejar que se siente unos 5 a 10 minutos para que el sabor sea un poco mejor. Ahora, si lo dejas sentarse unos 10 minutos, claro, el agua no va a estar tan caliente, entonces se puede meter en el horno. Estos son los hornos que usamos para calentar la comida y son sencillos. Se usa la electricidad para calentar estas planchas de metal y la comida se puede apoyar contra esos platos de metal. Se usa la electricidad para calentar esos platos y la comida puede calentarse. O en este ejemplo, el café puede mantenerse caliente. Ok, bueno, ya estando preparado el café, ahora es tiempo de preparar la comida. Usualmente yo como un cereal y una proteína cada desayuno. Ahora elegí granola en una bolsa y una quiche con vegetales para la proteína. Cada pedazo de comida deshidrada viene en una bolsa así blanca y esta bolsa ayuda a proteger la comida de la radiación que puede dañar la comida, ya que puede estar varias semanas o varios meses antes de que la comemos. Entonces la bolsa se abre y aquí está la bolsita de granola y como pueden ver, cada bolsita te dice cuánta agua es sugerida para usar con cada comida. Entonces aquí está el granola. Y aquí está el quiche. Ok, el quiche dicen 50 mililitros de agua caliente y para el granola son 50 mililitros de agua fría. Aunque yo usualmente le pongo agua caliente porque para mí en el desayuno sabe un poco mejor y usualmente en vez de 50 le pongo 75, pues me gusta un poco más, me gusta mejor con 75 a vez de 50. Lo bueno es que al nomás llegar a la estación empiezas a comer y probar y puedes elegir cómo para ti sabe mejor la comida. Entonces, al quiche le vamos a poner 50. ¿Se acuerdan que antes usamos 250 para el café? Entonces es importante cambiar a 50, asegurar que está encendido y elegir agua caliente. Y ahora 75 para el granola. Ok, como pueden ver, sin la gravedad, el agua usualmente queda un poco más arriba. Entonces, no naturalmente baja. Aunque la comida, ya estando mojada, poco a poco va bajando el agua. Pero para mí es mucho más fácil mezclarla de un solo. Todo el agua baja y ya se prepara el granola. Entonces ahí está con 50 mililitros. Pueden ver que lo mismo con el quiche. Ya como esperamos unos 30 segundos, el agua ya empezó a bajar, pero también la mezclo un poco más, el agua baja y entonces se puede mezclar un poco mejor. Ok, aquí está la granola ya preparada. Ahora, ¿cómo se come? Claro, se tiene que abrir la bolsa. Usamos unas tijeras que mantenemos en la mesa. Yo trato de bajar toda la comida y toda la leche, especialmente cosas con leche, hacia abajo, porque si no se pueden ensuciar demasiado las tijeras. Se baja la comida, se corta la bolsa. Claro, esta parte ya es basura y pueden ver que ya se puede abrir mucho más fácil la bolsa. Ahora, casi toda la comida que comemos aquí en la estación se come
like in Orlando right now as the partial eclipse comes to an end, or at least starts. It's starting to come to an end anyway. Um, so Family Lang says you're in Pennsylvania. It just happened. Good stuff. John got a small amount of darkness on the Click Orlando channel. Okay, so the baseball kid is asking a really good question. That is because, and I'll bring back this diagram. He's asking why it didn't get totally dark in New Jersey. Well, we weren't in totality. Let me switch back my sources here and go back to the weather computer, and I'll show you why. So we have two shadows. We have a really confined shadow. That's the umbra of the moon, and then we have the penumbra. So most of the United States, most of Mexico, and most of Canada were in the outer shadow. Okay, so that's the partial portion of the eclipse. There is the select few, though, that at about 115 miles wide, give or take, from the west coast of Mexico, right on through the United States, and then eventually into Canada. This area, that's what saw totality in that kind of dark shaded area that says path of the total eclipse. So in New Jersey, we saw about 90%. If you were in Virginia or North Carolina, you saw about 80%. So that was the difference between literally night and day. Even if you were 99%, if you were not in totality, there's enough sunlight coming through that little sliver to keep things light. It's certainly a little darker, but it's nothing like what we were able to bring you earlier in the live stream where we did have totality go over San Antonio and it went dark. And that's where the animals start acting crazy and all that other stuff because they are super confused. So that is why 80%, even 99% doesn't cut it. And we were talking about in those videos that if you were close to the path of totality, just get there. Like the south side of San Antonio was not. And so if you had family living on the south side of San Antonio that didn't go north of the city, you missed it. It's crazy, but that's what happens. It's literally the difference between night and day. So that is a really good question. Let's get back to the satellite. Let's track where this thing is. Notice how much darker it is in Canada right now. Let me refresh this and bring up the latest view here of the satellite. This is over the last hour, and notice how we can start to see the clouds again. Because we have the visible back, we have the brightness back. The visible satellite, you need to have the sunshine to see it, and the sun was blocked by the moon for a little bit of time. That is why it's now dark up here because it's like night, and we're brightening things back up over here. We've got all of it back now. The eclipse is completely over in Mexico. It is still raging up here, though. And you can see, let's see, where we lose the light. So now it's over the North Atlantic. Totality is over the North Atlantic, and that's a nice big storm system out there. That totality just kind of went right over. But we're starting to brighten things up again in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, after a really, really good looking eclipse in Cleveland. And then following that out, we will eventually get the sunshine back again. What you're looking at in the middle part of your screen, that is a live view of Burlington, Vermont. And we've been coming out of totality for quite some time now, but there's still that chunk taken out as the moon moves away from the sun. So that's really, really cool stuff. And this is how we're almost completely out of it in Orlando. Let me bring back up that feed. Look at that, just a little bite. And that's kind of, it shows you the perspective from where you are. Again, that's why it was so cool to be able to bring you a bunch of different views at once across the United States, from Mexico all the way to Canada, and then from Central Florida, and then everywhere in between, to show you again that, okay, we have this little sliver taken out in Orlando as the eclipse is coming to an end, but still a nice big chunk of the sun being taken out by the moon there as it continues to work its way out. So really, really cool stuff. And I'm glad that you guys that were in totality got to see that. And I'm glad that those that were on the stream really got to see it here. So thank you for hanging out with us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Have to get that in there. Alrighty, guys, if you are watching on clickorlando.com or News 6 Plus, we are going to take a very, very short break. We will be back right here in 2 minutes. By that time, Central Florida will be just about over. Actually, it'll be right over. So we're going to get you to a quick break. We'll see you then. All right, for those that are still hanging out with us on YouTube, on the Click Orlando channel or on the Just Weather channel, thanks for hanging out with us. Trying to find my comment section. There we go. If you were to see my computer right now, I've got 3 million tabs open to be able to bring you all of the views and to go between all that stuff. So it takes a second to find what I'm looking for. So thanks for bearing with me. Okay. So good question here from Sit Down. He's asking, how is the moon shadow going in the opposite direction? It makes no sense with Earth's rotation. So it's doing that because obviously we have the sun that rises in the east and sets in the west. Rises in the east and sets in the west. Hold that thought. This is great news. Tanya was emailing me about the spot to pick, and I was hoping that you'd be on the stream or send me an email to know that you guys got it. I'm so happy. I am so happy that it was a great spot, Tanya. So I'm glad you got to see that. I hope you and your son both enjoyed the eclipse and got in the full view. So that makes me so happy. They went to Southeast Oklahoma and got in on totality. So thank you for that update. I'm about to start tearing up. So thank you for that. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm just so glad you guys got to see it. That makes me really, really happy. So thank you for hopping on and commenting. All right. So then back to the question at hand. The what's going on is both the Earth and the moon are rotating in the same direction. Had to stop because we are welcoming back our viewers on clickorlando.com and on News 6 Plus. We were just talking about, or asking how the moon shadow is going in the opposite direction. And it's a really, really good question. And basically, again, look at that bottom picture there. That bottom picture, and this is one of the number one most asked questions of the last couple of months. How in the heck, if the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west, is it moving from west to east? It's because both the Earth and the moon are rotating counterclockwise. They're both moving from west to east. So it shows the motion of the shadow. That's the important thing. It's the moon's shadow that's being projected onto the Earth, and it's not the sun itself. So the sun's just kind of chilling there, and the Earth moves in the way, and the moon moves in the way. And both the Earth and the moon are moving in the same direction relative to the sun. It's tilted from southwest to northeast because the moon is not on a flat plane with the Earth. It's tilted a little bit. So that's why it's coming up from the south to north. So hopefully that helps. Alessandro, good luck in your match today, my friend. There's your shout out. And that's crazy. So we were talking about that. Darlene says we had 90% northern Kentucky, pretty clear skies. Louisville, though, it was cloudy. So that was, I mean, just a little bit of different distance, relatively speaking, and it's just crazy. Thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that. Wouldn't be anything without you guys. So I really appreciate you all finding the stream.